I'm Burton Klein here on CCP TV, the educational channel of Community College of Philadelphia. And today, viewing audience, Luddites, Luddites. What are they? My wife and I never knew, but today, if you'll allow me, I'll tell you all about the Luddite world. Again, Luddites. The year was 2003, 10 years ago, and my bride and I were coming off the cruise ship Crystal Serenity in Riga, Latvia, ultimately on the way to St. Petersburg, Russia. And we're walking down the gangplank, and we met two people. One was Angelica from Round Rock, Texas, about 100 miles from Dallas. And with Angelica was her brother, Rocco, formerly of Round Rock, Texas, but now a middle management leader of Dell Computer Company in Ames, Iowa, and Rocco lives in Ames, Iowa. Brother and sister, taking a cruise together, reuniting after being separated for years because of Rocco going to Ames, Iowa. And we're walking from the ship and we start talking, my wife and I, to Angelica and Rocco. And Rocco tells us all about Dell Computer Company and about this and about that and about his management tasks. And Angelica, with a laugh in her voice, says, "You know, I'm totally against Rocco. Not as a brother, I love him," she said. "But I am anti-technology. Rocco's high technology. And people who are anti-technology are called Luddites, Luddites with an S, Luddites." Well, my wife and I had never heard of Luddites. Angelica told us a lot about them, but did some research about Luddites. And may I? Some of it is lore, but much of it is truth. And Luddites started in 1779 in Ansty, outside of Leicester, about 100 miles from London, England. Ansty. What happened? There's a young man named Ned Ludd, Ludd. And Ned Ludd's dad was named, his nickname was Captain Ludd, or Major Ludd, or some say, and lore says, Edward Ludlam. That's not the important thing. But this Captain Ludd, or Edward Ludlam, or Major Ludd, the father of Ned Ludd, invented something. It was knitting frames. And Ned Ludd didn't like the knitting frames. Why, you might ask? Please ask. Ned Ludd didn't like the knitting frames because the knitting frames took away from some of his father's ladies who worked in the shop making scarves and dresses and coats. The knitting frames did away with the need for some of the ladies. Ned Ludd respectfully cared for those ladies. Ned Ludd, ladies and gentlemen of the viewing audience, in 1779 in Ansty, England, smashed his father's knitting frames. Thus, anti-technology. The name Ned Ludd, people against technology, became Luddites. Again, Luddites, and we'll stick an S on the end. By the way, those who were for technology back in that time were the Eliites, Eli-ites. They're the followers and proponents of Eli Whitney, the cotton gin in 1793, the musket in 1798. But Luddites. Angelica, walking from the ship on our way into Riga, Latvia, started to tell us that she's a member of the Progressive Luddite Society. She said the Progressive Luddite Society has worldwide about 7 million members, and she attends progressive Luddite Society conventions. She also told us there were other groups, Antitechnology, the Learning Alliance, the Forum on Globalization, the Jacques Ellul, E-L-L-U-L Society. About 100 million people per year go to these various societies to talk about anti-technology. Luddites, the world of Luddites. There was another Luddite. In 1996, I'm sorry to recall Ted Kaczynski. Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber. He got the name Unabomber, viewing audience, UN for university, because he would send bombs or plant bombs in universities. The A in UNA for airplanes, against airplanes. Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber. We'll go back 20 years. We'll go back to the movie in 1976. My goodness, is that how long ago it was? Network. Peter Finch as Howard Beale. You remember the line? I'm mad as hell, and I can't take it anymore. We're jumping now back to 1996. Newsweek. Newsweek featured on the front picture page of Newsweek and throughout the magazine that 150 million Americans, not necessarily members of the four societies that Angelica mentioned to my wife and me, but Newsweek in 1996 said 150 million Americans feel that their life is, for want of a better term, the magazine said, getting away from us. Technology, getting away from us. And then, ladies and gentlemen, on CCP TV, the articles about anti-technology, the articles that are for Ned Ludd and Luddites. Someone named Kirkpatrick Sale, 58 articles on anti-technology. Edward Cooper, a book, The Cloud Walker. Edmund Abbey, a book, The Monkey Wrench Gang. Ann Finger articles, Our Ned, talking about Ned Ludd. Kurt Vonnegut, a major book, a major bestseller. And again, I am not a proponent of Ludditism. I'm just telling you about it, am I not? Kurt Vonnegut's book, Player Piano. Let's go to 1985 now. 1985, a rock songwriter, Robert Calvert. And Robert Calvert wrote a song about Ned Ludd. And the words of that song, and I shall spare you my singing it, go like this. Ned Ludd was an idiot boy, that all he could do was wreck and destroy. He turned to his mates and said, death to machines. They tread on our hopes and stamp on our dreams. 1985. Look up the song. Check me out. But now I have some things to show you and read to you, if I may. And here is a Philadelphia Magazine article, cover, from December of 2010. And there's a picture of a young man on the front, and he's all wired up, and he definitely is a technological. He's not a Luddite. And the magazine title says, Why Kids Are Stupider is the word that is used. Let me now turn to some other things that relate to this whole subject of Luddites. I have here the 8th grade final exam from Salina, Kansas public schools. You know, folks, you've heard many times that our parents and our grandparents, and they couldn't afford college, and they couldn't afford to go out to work or even go to high school to 12th grade. They had to go out to work. And you sometimes hear the phrase, well, they only had an 8th grade education. Ha ha, 8th grade education? Here is an exam, Salina, Kansas Public Schools, 1895. I took the exam. I checked my answers on the computer, if you will. Out of a possible 100% perfect score, the person speaking to you today on CCP TV received a 37. I admit to getting 37% right. I'm not going to read you all the questions from the Salina, Kansas 1895 final exam for 8th graders, but allow me to read some, please. Allow me. Define verse, stanza, and paragraph. A wagon is 2 feet deep, 10 feet long, and 3 feet wide. How many bushels of wheat will it hold? Find the interest of $512.60 for 8 months and 18 days at 7%. Give the epochs into which U.S. history is divided. Relate the causes and results of the Revolutionary War. Name events connected with the following dates: 1607, 1620, 1800, 1849, 1865. Let me continue, please. What is meant by the following? 1895. Now, Salina, Kansas, final exam. What is meant by the following? Alphabet, phonetic, orthography, etymology, syllabication. What are the following, and give examples of each? Trigraph, subvocals, diphthong, cognate letters, linguals. I ain't done yet, folks. Use the following correctly in sentences. Cite, C-I-T-E. Cite, S-I-T-E. Cite, S-I-G-H-T. Feign, F-A-N-E. Feign, F-A-I-N. Feign, F-E-I-G-N. Vain, V-A-N-E. Vain, V-A-I-N. Vain, V-E-I-N. Raise, R-A-Z-E. Raise, R-A-I-S-E. Raise, R-A-Y-S. How does one account for the extremes of climate in Kansas? This is not in the exam, but who the heck knows? I sure didn't know that one as one of my 37% correct out of 100. Name and locate the principal trade centers of the United States. Name all the republics of Europe and give the capital of each. Describe the process by which the water of the ocean returns to the source of rivers. Wow. 37% correct. And I think I might have been pushing it a little bit. I don't know if it was really 37%. 1895, a final examination. Some other things related to the subject of Luddites and where we were and where we are. Last week, Barnes & Noble closed more than 700 stores. I don't know when the last week was referring, but Barnes & Noble, ladies and gentlemen, closing stores. If I may, the secret to raising boys who read, I submit, is pretty simple. Keep electronic media, especially video games and recreational internet, under control. That is to say, almost completely absent. These are people who are anti-Luddite who wrote this article. People who think that a book, even R.L. Stein's grossest masterpiece, can compete with the powerful stimulation of an electronic screen are crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, Luddites, people who are, as you can see, something when it comes to technology. Something. And what is that something? You know by now. Anti-technology. We have some things regarding the Philadelphia magazine, and you saw the picture on the cover, why kids are getting stupider. You heard about an 8th grade final exam in Salina, Kansas. You heard about Barnes & Noble closing over 700 stores. I want to let you know now about anti-technology, some potpourri, some mixed things about anti-technology. You know, you can tell if one is on a computer and thus what they're doing. You can tell if someone's on a computer and thus what they're doing. There's something called identity theft. Identity theft, anti-technology. You have, of course, texting and sexting and pornography dealing with technology, do you not? You have many newspapers that are dying. Don't need them anymore, people say. We have the computer. We have technology. We have, if I may, some travel agencies that are dying in the world. Don't need a travel agent, some people say. Don't need that one-to-one. You just take the trip on a computer. And then, of course, one can get online degrees. And I am for online degrees, by the way. There are many people who are infirm, many people who do not have the money to get down to a college or university, or for whatever reason, online degrees. Potpourri dealing with anti-technology. But now, let's do something regarding plus. Let's do something that is for technology. Do you know, folks, if you go to a gymnasium, that there are treadmills right now that have water? You also can push a button on some treadmills and water will spray in your face to refresh one. You have treadmills that you push a button and you can have milk, hot chocolate, or coffee. Technology, wonderful in that sense. Look at the emails one can get when one is not at home. You can pick up emails, can you not? You can be anywhere in the world and pick up emails. Technology, wonderful. What one can do on phones and iPads is absolutely wonderful. Look at the medical advances because of technology. Look at the new jobs because of technology. Luddites. Anti-technology. Ladies and gentlemen of the viewing audience, there are many, many people in this world, as you know, and I referred to it earlier, who cannot leave their homes because of an infirmity or some other reasons. Isn't it wonderful to have that technology? But Ned Ludd didn't think so. Ned Ludd missed the people who used to work for his dad. Ned Ludd started Luddites. My wife and I know many Luddites. Are they a different type of person? Are they mentally ill in some way? Of course not. They are wonderful people. Do most Luddites look upon those who don't like technology as people who are ill in some way? No, not at all. Folks, Kirkpatrick Sale has written many anti-technology articles. Kurt Vonnegut wrote many anti-technology articles. The Cloud Walker by Edmund Cooper. Kurt Vonnegut was player piano. Edward Abbey wrote The Monkey Wrench Gang. Thomas Pynchon wrote an essay, Is It Okay to Be a Luddite? Ann Finger wrote short stories called Our Ned, referring to Ned Ludd, plus hundreds more of anti-technology books. You know, if one is anti-technology, they're considered being out of sync. They're considered being someone who's out of the role of normal life today. But there are many, many more people who are now anti-technology than pro-technology than even 5 years ago, says the New York Times in an article in 2011. Referring to myself, and of course, I am not important. I realize that. I can go on a computer, I can push a button, I can get certain information, but I'm not really a technology guy. Am I a Luddite? No, but I'm not fully a technology guy. Should that matter to the viewing audience? Of course it shouldn't. But ladies and gentlemen, there are fewer people today who pick up a book to read it. Of course, technologically, one can find a book on a computer. There are fewer people today, books will tell one, and I cannot document this, that spend more time with family and sit around the dinner table to talk because they must run to that computer. The Luddite world. Ned Ludd was totally against it. I am not totally against it, but I want to let you know that I respect and appreciate those people who are anti-technology. I'm Burton Klein, as you know, and that's all the time we have for today. I want to thank you for joining us today on CCP TV, the educational channel of Community College of Philadelphia. Hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.